Hello, everybody. My name's Suze Shardlow. I am the Developer Community Manager here at Redis. It's really nice to see you today. It's really a lot earlier than I normally see you, and it's currently 2.5 degrees Celsius outside, which is a massive drop from a couple of days ago. So for those of you working in Fahrenheit, that is approximately 35 degrees Fahrenheit. And just for comparison purposes, about 3 days ago, it was 20 degrees Celsius and nearly 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So autumn or fall, depending on where you are in the world, is definitely here. We're here to talk about Hacktoberfest today, and I've got Simon Prickett with me here today. Hi, Simon. How are you?
Hi, very well, thanks. I'm Simon Prickett, the Developer Advocacy Manager at Redis. I've also been working on this Hacktoberfest project, and I have my T-shirt from last year. I'm based in England too, so it's quite a cold morning here for us, but we're going to try it first thing in the morning and see if we can reach some people that we wouldn't normally with our later time slot.
Yeah, I feel like I'm bathed in a nice glow of light here because the sun from the windows hitting the camera. So it's quite nice doing the early morning slot. Sadly, all of our colleagues are still in bed because they're all in North America. So yes, it's just us today. Nice to be here. Cool. So we are here to talk about Hacktoberfest. Like I said, those of you who don't know what Hacktoberfest is, don't worry. There is still time to take part, even though, as the name suggests, it is an October thing. So Hacktoberfest is a month-long annual festival sponsored by DigitalOcean. Let me show you the DigitalOcean website here. So yeah, if you go to hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com, then you'll find all details about this global festival. And it's all about encouraging people to get involved in open source, especially for the first time. So if you're not sure what open source is software or documentation that is publicly available for folks to contribute to or learn from or inspect. So if you are familiar with GitHub or GitLab, then you might have seen some repos on there that belong to other people that they put up there publicly for folks to just go along and have a look. So like I said, Hacktoberfest is an annual event, and we're now in the 8th year of Hacktoberfest, and DigitalOcean kindly sponsor that. And they want to get folks involved in open source, and to do that, DigitalOcean incentivize people. So this year what they're doing is they're giving away some swag if you submit 4 pull requests that are accepted by maintainers. And we'll go into all of that in a second. So don't worry if you don't understand what I'm talking about. So as part of Hacktoberfest, Redis is made some issues available on our open repos for you to get your teeth into. So if you go to developer.redis.com/Hacktoberfest, then you will see our Hacktoberfest page, and on there you'll be able to see all of our open issues. We've got a link here. That'll take you to GitHub, which is where we keep all our repos. Other people keep their repos on maybe other services, but GitHub's a popular place to keep your repos. And you'll be able to just browse there and see all the different things that are available. So what we're going to be doing today, later on today, we'll be putting some more issues up. So if you've got time over the weekend, then you can go and have a look at those. But at the moment, we have got 10 open issues. Some of those are assigned, but a lot of them are not assigned yet. So feel free to go and have a look and see what grabs you. So we're getting involved in Hacktoberfest here. We've got a few issues up, like I showed you. We've also had a lot of really great pull requests, and we were so excited when they came in and we had a look and to see what folks had done with our things that we put out for people to get involved with. So that's what we're going to show you today. Just a selection of the pull requests that came in, and also explain a little bit about the software and the documentation that those contributions have enhanced, but also just a little bit of an insight into what goes into contributing, just for those of you who have never done this before, just so you can see what it's all about. And like I said, DigitalOcean are incentivizing people to do that this year. Last year, Simon and I got this lovely T-shirt. We're both wearing the uniform today. Mine's stretched because I keep showing everybody on the streams. But yeah, so we are not involved in the allocation or sending of swag. that is completely DigitalOcean's wheelhouse there. They are in control of that. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to sign up on the DigitalOcean website that I showed you earlier, and then you can start counting up your pull requests. So what we are offering, folks, if you do want to contribute to our repos, if you give us your social media handle, and also we have a Discord server, I will just show you that briefly as well. Here we go. I can only share one screen at once on here. We have a Discord server and we have a dedicated Hacktoberfest channel in here. If you give us your handle on our Discord server, don't worry if you're not a member, you can join anytime at the link on the screen. We will give you a shout out on Discord, and also if you're on Twitter, we'll give you a shout out on Twitter as well. So I think that is the all the background on Hacktoberfest. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand you over to Simon, who's going to talk a little bit more about the actual issues and the pull requests.
Yeah, hi. So, yeah, we at Redis have a number of repos and a number of GitHub organizations that we look after, and they cover quite a range of software. So we have the core Redis open source product, which is a C server-based data store product. And then we have a whole ecosystem of things that go around that. So that includes client SDKs for most popular programming languages. And then the group that I work in, which is the developer relations team, we create demonstrations, short content, video, blogs, etc., and longer form training courses around how to use the product and how to use sort of the wider product ecosystem, so things that go with it. So as part of Hacktoberfest, we decided that we would take some of our demonstration repos that we've built, all sorts of different things that use Redis as the data store around, and we would open those up to the public to contribute. This means that you don't have to be a C developer to do this, like you would be to work on the core Redis product. You don't have to have used Redis before or understand very much about it, because we have training materials for that. And quite a lot of the issues we've opened don't involve actually coding against the Redis product anyway. So some of them, you know, we are mostly solution architect, back-end engineer type people on our team. So we need front-end help with some things so that things that we make look better than if I made it. So we've opened up issues with CSS, JavaScript, Node.js, Python, Java, and then documentation issues as well, because a lot with our repos, we make a video about them, people watch the video, and then they want to go use the demo project or learn something from it. And a lot of getting people into those projects really quickly is removing that initial friction of how do I go from here's some code on GitHub to here's a running thing on my machine. So a lot of the issues that we have put out have been documentation ones, either to improve documentation we have at the moment or update it for changes in software since we wrote the demo, or in many cases use something like Docker and Docker Compose to remove that friction. So people don't have to go install Redis, set up dependencies and so on. They can just do Docker Compose up, and they've got a working solution that they can immediately start playing with. And a few of those have been done. So that would mean that if you were to pick up one of our issues now, the chances are you'll be working in a repo where that's been done already, and you've got a really easy start point. And if you wanted to work on one of these and you wanted some help from our team, then as Suze says, we have Discord here. We have a dedicated Hacktoberfest channel in here. So here somebody came in and asked us a question about Docker and how to get started with things, and I was able to point them at something we'd already done. They went off and created the PR. Suze and I reviewed it, thought it was great, and we merged it. So this person now has, if you notice, they have an orange. Oops, sorry. Let's put me back in the stream there. Sorry, so this person created a PR. Suze and I merged it when we got out of our meetings, and this person you'll see now has an orange role in Discord here. We have like a special swag role for certified Redis Geek for people who pass our exams. We also have one for Hacktoberfest contributors. So this person we're recognizing as a Hacktoberfest contributor, and they did their PR. That's one of their 4 PRs. So they'll get, if they do the other 3, they'll get their swag from DigitalOcean. So we are here to provide support. We are trying to make this fairly easy on contributors, so they can basically come in, see one of our issues, maybe learn a little bit about Redis, and complete something, merge a PR, and so on. So we are obviously doing our day jobs during this time, but we're trying to make this a priority as well. So if you ask us to be assigned an open issue, we will assign that to you, and then we'll give you a couple of days to either produce something or talk to us or ask us some questions, and we'll work with you through the process and make sure that the pull request is merged in a timely fashion, so that obviously we don't run off of October and you haven't got your pull request that DigitalOcean is going to recognize. And the way we do that is we're adding the Hacktoberfest accepted label to the pull request, which is something that DigitalOcean's portal is searching for. And then if you get 4 of those, I think they email you and say, hey, congratulations, you've done it. So all very good. And yeah, we've had a huge range of contributors that I'll let Suze talk about.
Yeah, so if any of you have been watching my other streams, I'm on quite a lot of streams at the moment. So I am currently doing RU101, which is, like Simon said, we've got Redis University and we've got a bunch of free courses on there. RU101 is the first one that people normally start off with, introduction to Redis data structures. So I've only been at the company for a couple of months now, and Simon's been here for nearly 3 years, but it's been really good for me to see, actually, because I'm quite new to all of these repos and all the demo apps and things like that. I've been really pleased to see how quickly people have picked this up, like Simon said. And I think it's really a testament to the fact that the repos have got really good readmes. And those of you who have been looking at repos, you might have seen a bit of a variety in the startup instructions for how to actually run these things to get to step 1. So this has been very much an experiment for me. It's a project that I had pitched to what was then my hopefully potential boss when I was in the interview stage for this job. So I said, oh, let's do Hacktoberfest. And I really didn't know what response we would get. And it's been so nice to see that, because we kind of, like, our past selves had been kind to everyone in the future and done some really good setup instructions. People have been able to pick up and run with this stuff, and yeah, some folks have needed help, but not a huge number. And like Simon said, we're here to support you. So if you join our Discord server and ask any questions you've got, then we can answer you within business hours. So we're both in the UK. We'll be here Monday to Friday. But what's also been cool, like Simon said, is that we have had contributions from all over the world, like you might expect. So these issues are discoverable because we've added the tags. And so if you go to GitHub and just search for those tags, then you'll find our issues in there, in amongst everybody else's. But it's been really cool to see where everybody is. And I knew it would be international, but for some reason, I kind of didn't really think that there would be such a spread. So the places that I remember some of these folks that have contributed are including Hong Kong, Australia, Canada, Egypt, and India. So definitely far flung to all 4 corners of the earth. And I'm just really pleased that everybody's got into the spirit of it. So many people have said how much fun it is as well. And like Simon said, what we're doing is we are initially giving everybody 2 days to open a pull request or get in touch and say, I need a little bit of guidance here, is because I'm not too sure what you mean. And the reason for that is because we only have a month. What I've noticed when I've taken part in Hacktoberfest in previous years was that folks would go and ask to work on an issue, and then maybe they'd go quiet for a variety of reasons, like, something came up, or they forgot, or they didn't know how to start, or maybe they had just kind of signed up for too many and they just couldn't fit them all in. So what we've done is we've limited that just to give folks, to give more people a chance to have a bite of the cherry at this, so that there's a quick turnover. So if you find that you can't do it or you haven't got time, then very quickly we can reallocate that issue to somebody else. But generally, because everybody knows that, and we've made it very clear on our Hacktoberfest page, then most people have been able to turn it around, because they knew when they signed up for that issue that they would need to do something within 2 days. So if you go along there and you think, oh, I can't do that until next week, then don't sign up. There should be something else in there for you, because we're adding new issues all the time. But that's just a little explainer as to why we've time limited that, and it seems to have worked really well so far. Like I said, we've got 10 open issues and we've got probably 20 plus closed ones, and we only started a week or two ago. So yeah, really pleased with that. So one of the projects that Simon opened up is Kaboom. I will let him talk all about that, because that's his baby. But yeah, on the Kaboom project, Simon opened up quite a number of different issues. There was a good variety of things on there, and we attracted a good variety of developers. So Simon, take us through the Kaboom project.
Okay, thanks. So let's put the desktop back up here. So yeah, this is one of those examples that we in the developer relations team build small applications to demonstrate certain things about Redis, or use either new features in the product or use cases that people have asked us to look at, or how to use it from a specific programming language. And sometimes that requires us to make some sort of full stack application, and we can make a lot of like businessy sort of applications, and that's great, and it appeals to quite a lot of people and customers and stuff. But also Redis is generally used quite a bit in gaming for things like leaderboards, high score tables, managing who's online sort of session things. And we thought, well, what if we build a game? So we've made like several videos where we kind of pretended to build a game. So we talked about aspects of gaming, and we just showed the database bits, and then we used like animations in the video to make it look like we had a game. So we thought, well, what if we wrote a game? So I found this thing called Kaboom JS, which is a front end for let's make this a bit bigger. It's a front end for writing sort of old school 8-bit style games. So those appeal to quite a lot of people because they're pretty simple to build compared to the sort of modern games that you get. And a game makes a really good demo because it has a set of rules. So you know when you've finished building the thing, because if you've implemented all the rules and you've got something playable, then great. So we have this game demo. It's a like role-playing game. You run around a maze, and the definition of the maze is stored in Redis as a JSON document. And you basically have to collect keys. So you can go through the green doors that you see on the screen here without a key. And if you hit a red door, you have to have a certain number of keys to pass through it. And then once you've got all the keys, you go back to the room you started in, and you can escape out of that red door to the right that is locked and bangs around. So Kaboom is the front-end framework for this. We have a back-end API server that's serving the web page with the game in it and some of the logic, and that runs in Node. And then we're using Redis to store a few things. So we're using Redis to store the game map. We're using Redis to store the number of rooms that a user has walked through. So we have a data stream in Redis. Every time you change room, we add an entry to that. And then when you finish the game, we can say how many rooms you went through and how long you took. So there's potential, and this might be a future issue for this project, to build a high score table that says, Suze completed it in 91 seconds and 42 moves, and Simon completed it in 89 seconds and 98 moves. And you obviously want to complete it as fast as possible in the fewest moves. So this is the game. I can actually go play it here. So I can hit space to begin. And the first thing you'll notice is that this game looks a little bit different from the canned GIF in here. So we had like these gray things and red doors and a little person that runs around. And here we have something that's a little bit more, well, funnily enough, Halloween, October-y sort of themed. And one of our issues here was to take all of the sprites in this game, which are like small PNG images, and change them out for something different. So this is kind of an interesting issue to work on because it wasn't a Redis issue or a coding issue per se. It was a graphic design issue. But to get to the start line and get up and running with the game, you needed to understand how to install it and get to here where I am, where I can now play it, and I can run around here and move around between rooms. And I'm probably not going to be able to find a key, but these are a transporter that take you somewhere else. So in order to get to this and try it out, you needed to understand a little bit about Redis and a little bit about how to get going, even though the task was a graphic design one. So our repo here comes with a really good list of setup instructions. Someone else has actually worked on these during Hacktoberfest, so anybody working from that benefits from this. The great thing about this is all of these issues are cumulative. So if someone fixes something, everyone benefits, and then the watermark for the next issue starts higher, and you can benefit from their documentation and get on with whatever it is you want to do. So the person that did this took this, ran with it, got the setup running, and supplied some extra games, so some extra icons. So what we were going to look at was the issue that we gave them to start with. So here in GitHub, we had an issue that is replace some tile images with some of your own design. We didn't really prescribe what we wanted because we're not designers. We just thought let people choose. And we showed them where to get them and how to read our Hacktoberfest guidelines and how to get hold of us. If you want to use Discord, that's great. If you want to use comments in GitHub, we're also pretty responsive to those. We check our notifications like hourly. And what happened with this was somebody originally asked to be assigned it and said that they got it up and running, which is a nice start point because they can show us that they're ready to work on it. So I assigned it to them. Unfortunately, we didn't hear anything back. As Suze says, people get busy or maybe take on a little bit more than they can handle sometimes. And we then unassigned it, which put it back into our pool of Hacktoberfest issues that people can work on. And somebody else picked it up and we assigned it to them. And they came back to us with some ideas. So this is great. We didn't really expect a communicative process where somebody would be like, what do you think of this? We expected a pull request of like, here's your new icons. So we got the chance to have a little bit of a back and forth with this person about what we think we wanted. And they did a pull request and we merged it and we gave them some feedback and just asked if they could keep the original ones in the repo as well. So we have those as fallbacks if people want them. They did a pull request here that adds new sprites. So it changed a load of files, which is basically all the images. I won't show those. Diffs on those don't show very well in GitHub. Suze then accepted it, added the Hacktoberfest accepted label, which means that this person gets their one of their PRs registered with DigitalOcean. And yeah, that's basically the process. And then ongoing from that, we'll happily give you a shout out on Twitter and come chat to us on Discord if you want. And I think Suze is working on other content with some of our other contributors. But this is a good example of an issue that you didn't require coding experience to do, a little bit of setup, and it's a fun way to contribute to a game.
Yeah, so I just want to give a quick shout out to Connell Code. So thanks so much for submitting that pull request to us. So it's beyond what we dreamed we could have done with it, because like Simon said, we're not designers. So thanks so much for lending your expertise to our repo.
Yeah, and then while we're in here, we had quite a few takers for issues on this repo, possibly because I think a couple of things. It's a game, so people love working on games or people like playing them. And it's Node.js, so the coding issues are accessible to quite a lot of people who know JavaScript one way or another. If you're a front-end person, you know enough JavaScript to work on one of our Node.js projects because it's the same language. And if you're an experienced Node developer, then our projects probably look quite simple because they're demonstration projects that are built just to get up and running and do something. This is another one that kind of like fell in between the two stools of like, this isn't design and this isn't coding. The way that the game works here is it has a map. So all of these rooms, this is room 23, this is room 22, 21, 20, you get the idea with they're all interlinked. 20 goes to 16, 16 goes to 15 and so on. So you could literally draw a map out of this. And actually, that's how the game works underneath. It has a file in here called gamemap.json. And we documented this in the README. And that's basically a big array of JSON objects. And each object is let's make this even bigger. Each object represents a room. So like these equal signs are walls and the numbers are doors into other rooms. K is where the key would be in this room if the game were to place one. At is where the player begins in the room when they arrive. F is a teleporter flag that takes you to a random other room. So you can basically design in text the layout of a room. And then we have some metadata down here that says door number 1 leads to room number 1. Door number 2 leads to room 0. There's a special room for the end of the game. And if you put a keys required attribute in here, it will tell you how many keys you need to get through that door. So that will be a locked door. The game will show it as red. So we had like, I think 31 rooms or something like that when we started this out. And we put an issue out there to have somebody extend that. So do some designing in JSON, replace that file, test that it works, and make sure that your game map is still coherent. So the rooms still all link up and you can run around between them and not get stuck somewhere. So again, we put this out there as a Hacktoberfest issue, and we always link to the sources of help because you've always got help here. We're here to help you. And Sarah here came along and said she'd like to do this. I think it's Sarah Jean, actually. Came along and said she'd like to do this. So we assigned it to her, and she gave us a pull request. So basically, again, that's the process. And then Suze closed the issue and asked her if she'd like to chat with us about it or maybe produce some content about her work with Hacktoberfest in the future. So if we have a look at that pull request, adds more interconnected rooms, it changes a single file, and she also went the extra mile with this and sent us a, let's see if I can find it, sent us an image of what the map looks like after she'd extended it. So there's 2 files that are changed in here. Here's the map where she sort of started to merge her new rooms into our existing ones. So room 2 used to have a wall here on the right, and now it goes to room 4, and she's changed that. And then she's added a whole load of new rooms so people can explore the game some more. And here we go. Oh, it's not going to show it. Are you going to show me this file? Yeah, there we go. And then she also went the extra mile and drew out the entire map for us. So she took our original map, passed through all the JSON and wrote it out so that we can literally visually see that this map is coherent and works well. So you're not going to get lost. So again, that was great. And what we found is contributors have been really high quality, or contributions have been really high quality, and people have been really happy to talk to us. So that issue of making extra rooms is one that we can then put out again and again. So it's currently back out there. I think it's assigned with somebody to build on the map that myself and now Sarah built and make it even bigger. So we could have a really, really, really big game here, and Redis can cope with that fine. So we could build this huge maze, keep extending this game, and people can keep having fun with it.
That is definitely a fun one, and it's just so nice to see that Sarah Jean made a new map, because you can kind of imagine them sitting there thinking, right, how am I going to do this? How am I going to link all the rooms up? Because it looks really easy at first glance, but then you realize, because they're all interconnected, you do need to remember which one you've joined on to which and what you originally started out with. So I can imagine that was quite an engrossing task.
Yeah, absolutely. Then, so both the issues we've looked at haven't really been coding ones. And we obviously do have a mix of coding issues in there as well. So I said earlier that these applications we build are quite often demo applications. And what that means is we stick very much to the happy path, because we don't care about uptime. We don't care about bad data too much. We do care about producing a developer relations demo that shows a point in a minimal amount of code so people can see what the point is. and learn from that and get on with their lives. So we thought we would put out another sort of issue for this game. It has a node.js server, and the front end talks to the back end through that. And we thought we'd better add some error checking and start to make this thing look like an actual piece of software that might ship to people, rather than a demo that's great on the happy path and not so good once you get off of it. So we asked. We have a route in Express here that basically says, get me the room number for a given ID, and it goes into Redis, uses Redis JSON, and gets the object for the specific room that the user is walking into from Redis, and then the front end can render it. So it gets that text map of characters, equals for walls, numbers for doors, and all of that stuff. But if you put junk in there, or if you ask for a room that doesn't exist, or there's a fault in the map that causes it to ask for a room that doesn't exist, it used to blow up and destroy your game, and you kind of didn't know why. So we put an issue out there that basically says, hey, on this route here, can we have a 400 error if the room number doesn't exist? So you've asked for a bad room. I think this is Laura. Yep, Laura came along here and said she'd like to work on this, so we assigned it to her, and she gave us a pull request for it. And what we liked about this one, let's just go in here, was that she took our very simple, let's just get the room number and then don't do any validation with it, and checked it against a bunch of things like, is it between the 0, the lowest possible room number, and however many room numbers are actually in Redis. So this goes off to Redis and say how many things are in the JSON array at whatever key we're storing it at. She checked that they were actually in bounds, and then returned an error. So not too much coding required, but again, to get to the start point here, she's had to kind of like understand this project and use it and get it installed. And this is all really useful testing for us, because when we build demo applications, we want them to be, as I said, pretty frictionless. We want people to be able to install them and just get on with running them. So the fact that somebody can do this and work on the front end graphics, back end data, and now the code is very helpful for us, and hopefully helpful for contributors, because they can come in, do the job that they've been asked to do, enjoy doing it, get their credit, and not be messing around with how do I get this thing working, which, as Sue says, can be quite a frustration with open source. So we tried really hard with this. And I have one more in this game before we sort of move on to look at some other stuff. So we had a couple of error checking routes. So we had a second one here that I won't spend too much time on, because it's broadly the same sort of ask. So if you ask to end a game that doesn't exist, so each game has a unique game ID, because this server can support multiple games at the same time. So if I ask to end a game that doesn't exist, it just used to blow up and crash, because again, it's a demo application. We don't add validation. We just tell the database to delete things. We didn't get the response we expected, and then the code blew up. So this person here took this issue, did a pull request for it, fixed it, and let's have a look at their pull request a moment. What was interesting in this one was they did the pull request, and we merged it, so they obviously did it well. But they then sort of came up with, here's some ideas for other ways you can do error checking and other issues we might want to release for Hacktoberfest. So very grateful to Chris here for helping us out. And these are issues that are in our pool, and we will put those back out there and people can do them. As Sue says, we're constantly sort of feeding issues into our open issues list, which you can get from developer.redis.com Hacktoberfest at any point. So here, how to get involved, we have view our list of open issues. This will take you to GitHub, and it does a search across all of the all of the organizations, repos, and issues that we have tagged with Hacktoberfest. So anything in this result set, you can potentially pick up if it's not assigned to someone else. and work on it. We have 10 at the minute. There'll be more at the end of today being October the 22nd. And some of those are on, like I said, our demonstration repos. Some of them are on sort of more core products. So this one here is adding an example Node.js script to the node-redis Redis client. Node-redis is what you get when you do npm install Redis. It's a hugely popular repo. It gets something like 2.4 million downloads every week. So there's a chance to contribute to that in a way where we can help you as a first-time contributor. And we're asking you to write some example scripts that show how to use certain features of Node-redis, which we can give you help with. Okay, so I'm going to move on to a different repo. And while I set up, I'll just hand back to sort of say, so what are we doing with people that submit really good pull requests and we reach out to them and they decide they do want to chat with us?
Yeah, so what we really want to do is just bring this to life a bit more. And I think Hacktoberfest is the kind of thing that, companies put out and people put in pull requests and things like that. And then you don't really hear much about them. But I was really curious to know why people got involved and what their thought processes were, especially those, like Simon said, who weren't necessarily Redis type people. So that's why I've reached out to a few people to ask them a bit more about that. So I'm kind of exploring with them, what their thought process was, how they solved the problem and things like that. Because not only will it bring it to life for other people that want to take part in Hacktoberfest, I think it also gives us some learnings as well for next year. Because like I said, this is the first year that Redis has taken part in Hacktoberfest. And we're very much kind of taking a best guess at what might work. And I'm really pleased with how it's gone so far, but I'm really keen to improve as well. So yeah, definitely looking to find out why people are getting involved. And if you're watching this, please do post in the comments as to what's got you interested in Hacktoberfest and things like that. I seem to have lost Simon off the stream here, so I'll just keep chatting for a little while.
Sorry, I'm just doing a context switch that isn't particularly good television.
Okay, no worries, no worries.
I'm currently switching to work with, but I'll be with you in a second.
No worries. Yeah, so Simon's already demonstrated some of the pull requests we got to the Kaboom game. There were other ones. A lot of them were sort of similar, sort of variations on the theme. So we picked out the ones that kind of had the most impact and the most variety to show you. And we're going to also show you some pull requests that we reserved to the GeoSearch explainer as well. So that will be coming up in a second. And like Simon said, you can go onto our Hacktoberfest page, click the link and find all of our open issues there. But feel free, if you want to browse the closed issues and have a look at the pull request for yourself. They're all open. It's all open source, so you're free to do that. Just in terms of what else we've got going on during Hacktoberfest. So documentation, I've touched upon this earlier about how important documentation is, because I think that if we didn't have any documentation, it would have been a lot harder to get folks engaged with this because they wouldn't have known where to start with any of our projects. Documentation is so important. And at Redis, like Simon said, we both work for the developer relations team. And within our team, we do have a documentation team. So we are really lucky. Some companies don't have that, but we are really lucky we've got a documentation team. And documentation is quite often cited as a very good way to get your feet wet with open source. So I know that there are a lot of developers out there who may be quite confident in the realm of coding that they are accustomed to, but yet they still find it very hard to actually contribute to a code base. And that can be for a number of reasons. So, this person is going and looking around for open issues and they find a code base and they think, oh, I couldn't possibly contribute to that. It's massive and it's well established and there's so many people on there. I don't even know that, I'd be good enough to do that. Or, they look at the code and it's a little bit beyond them and they don't really understand what's going on with it. There's quite a number of reasons why you might not want to get involved in the code base straight away. So documentation is often cited as a good way to get your feet wet with open source. So the advice often is find a project that you really love to use, have a look at the documentation and see how it could be improved. Now, there are some guidelines around this. If you go to the DigitalOcean website that I showed you earlier, don't go to the documentation and just make some trivial changes, because they are not valuable to the maintainers. Make sure that the contributions that you're making to the documentation are valuable and useful and actually enhance the documentation. And there's a lot more detail about that on the DigitalOcean website. So because we know that documentation is a way that people are using to try and get into open source in a gentle way, I have set up some Twitch streams with our documentation team so that they can demystify the world of technical writing and documentation for you. So we did the first one last week. So we did it this time last week, Friday last week. And that was a fireside chat with me and all three of the people in the documentation team. So that was a panel. And then next week, we are doing the same thing, but on a one-to-one basis. So I'm going to take each of them and have a one-to-one fireside chat with them. So Monday, I'm speaking with Caitlin. Caitlin, they're all technical writers, but Caitlin came into technical writing not from a software engineering background. So she was not a coder before she came to technical writer. So that's going to be really interesting, because there are a lot of people in that boat. Maybe they've got a writing background, but nothing in coding, but they do actually want to get into tech. So that's on Monday. It's going to be at the later time of 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC, and 5 p.m. in the UK. If you follow us on Twitch, you will get a push notification when we go live, or if you subscribe to us on YouTube, then you will get a notification when we put the recording up. So that's on Monday, the 25th of October. Tuesday, 26th of October, same time, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC, 5 p.m. UK. I've got Rachel. Rachel is also a technical writer, and she did come from a software engineering background. So she's going to be talking about what it's like to pivot from coding to technical writing. So that's on Tuesday. And then on Friday, I'm speaking with Lance. Lance is the team leader, so he manages the team. So he's going to be talking about it from a slightly different point of view. And again, that's on Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC, and 5 p.m. UK. Follow us here on Twitch if you're watching live, and then you'll get a push notification when all of those go live. And if you subscribe to us on YouTube, you'll get a notification when we put the recording up there. So yeah, that's the other things that we have got going on during Hacktoberfest. So yeah, Simon, are you ready to?
Yeah, I'm ready.
GeoSearch?
Sorry,
No worries.
I'm very familiar with these projects, and one of the fun things about working with them on Hacktoberfest is we've had a lot of velocity of contributions to these, so things change a bit. So I'd kind of forgotten how to set one of them up, so I had to just go read my own README. So
so thank you, your past self now.
Yeah, no like magic or let's cut this and make like he knew what he was doing. Things have improved and got better, and I forgot that this project is now available to use through Docker, which it wasn't originally, and that's thanks to one of our Hacktoberfest contributors. So yeah, we have another project that is again a demonstration project. So you can actually, from this one's README, you can go watch we have a YouTube series called Head in the Corner, where members of our team basically talk about code and projects that they're writing. So I have a video about this project. And what this one does is it uses some of Redis's geo functionality. So you can put points of interest or places into Redis, and you can ask it, if I'm in a given place, how many, which of these places are within a 30, 40, 50 mile, 20 kilometer, 10 meter, whatever you like, radius, or inside a box area of where I am. So we thought we'd make a fun demo out of that, and we'd use some fairly common web technologies. So we're using leaflet maps here to render a map, and I can click on it. We're using Bulma, a CSS framework. And this is the level of front end that you get when you get me to do it. You basically get Bulma with no extra styling. So one of our issues that someone's actually working on at the minute is to make this pop a little bit more, because this form is kind of a bit invisible. I don't know what to do with it. I'm not a front-end developer, so someone else is doing that as part of Hacktoberfest. And then another issue was to change how we store the data in here. And I'll show that in a minute. But really quickly, what this does is we can zoom and move around the map. This is all leaflet maps. And we've got basically a number of train stations in the San Francisco Bay Area in here. So if I pick, like, I'm going to be somewhere near South San Francisco, click on the map there. It's completed my longitude, latitude up there. I'm going to do a radius search. So we'll do 30-mile radius of me. And what we can see here, zoom out a bit, is here's all the stations that are in a 30-mile radius of me. So this went off to Redis and it said, hey, Redis, I'm at this location. I want a 30-mile radius. Tell me what you've got. So you can see the line going up the Bay Area here. And if we hover over one of these, it'll tell us what the station name is. And you can't do anything else with it. You know, if you click, that goes back. This is a demo app. So a nice future enhancement might be to be able to click on those blue markers and see like some information about the station, like, is it wheelchair accessible, or when are the next trains from it? So those are the sort of things we might build onto this application. One of the things we did want to do was this application keeps all of its data, and I'm going to show that now using Redis Insight, which is a graphical way of looking at Redis. It keeps all of its data in a Redis GeoSet, so we can see that here. So here's all the stations, and we have this is their geo hash position, which is how Redis stores the lat long internally. And this is great if we just want to do geo, but we put out an issue that basically says, well, what if we wanted to do some other things, such as search for stations that are in a certain city, like Oakland or South San Francisco or Daly City. And to do that, we wanted to put those in Redis hashes, which are a different sort of data type. So this has a Python data loader, and we basically put this issue out and explained how we'd like the data to be loaded both into the GeoSearch and the hash when it's loaded into Redis. A user Octac here came along and did a pull request for that. And that pull request, he clarified that, do we want it only in the hashes or the geostructure? And we were like, no, we'd like it in both, please, because we're going to do both use cases in the future. So he went away and did that and submitted a code change here that basically where we used to have something that just did a Redis geo add, so put it in a Redis geostructure. He's now getting the data out in a Python, I think, dictionary, and then putting that into a Redis hash with the hmset command here as well. So the end result of that now is, as well as this geo structure here in Redis with all the stations, we can have, so if I pick San Francisco International Airport, we can have data fields about each station in here. And let's switch to another one, so Bayfair. So we can see that the Bayfair station's in the city of San Leandro. And we're not doing anything with this data or anything in the front end yet. So this is also how we're making Hacktoberfest work is once somebody's built something, so that's a back-end improvement that puts more data in the database, we are then able to here go out and create another issue to have somebody else work on that with the back-end data. So Redis has a thing called RediSearch that does full text searching. And we can have somebody with this issue then create a Redis search schema and search over the stations. And we've asked, could they do that? And build an API endpoint that searches by city. So give me all the stations that are in Oakland, California, for example, which are going to have different names. You know, they're going to have like 19th Street, 16th Street, downtown Oakland, Lake Merritt as an example of one. So if you were to work on this issue, you'd learn a little bit about Redis search. So the cool thing here is this was a fairly simple one for somebody to work on. They learned a little bit about Redis. They got to play with some nice front-end mapping. And then we got the basis for another issue. So someone can then contribute and work from there. And then hopefully at some point in the near future, we're expecting a pull request back to finish the styling on this so that it actually looks like something good. So that was that one. The final one I wanted to look at is a little bit of a shameless plug for the majority of my day job. So We at Redis run a thing called Redis University, and that is free online training. It's mostly video training, and there's hands-on coding and stuff like that. So you can take one of our courses and learn a bit about Redis. So one of our courses is the Java course here. It's called RU102J, Redis for Java developers. And we had a simple issue here to update the README to have a screenshot of the application. So we didn't have a screenshot of the application that you worked with in there before. It's also a maps application similar to the GeoSearch one. So what we did was we put this issue out there, and on the face of it, this is quite a simple one. Just go in, edit the README, take a screenshot of the application. But you've got to get the application running in order to do that. And when you get the application running, what you find is that you need to install data into Redis, you need to compile the Java, and you need to go visit the front end URL and take a screenshot. Except this project is shipped in a way where it's not completely finished, because that's part of the course. So you also have to complete one of the programming challenges in the course to do this issue. So whoever's worked on this, we helped them out with the programming challenge and a solution to that, so they didn't have to take the entire course, and they went away and submitted a README image, and we now should have here, here we go, an image of this working, and it basically is also a Bay Area based mapping application. And in order to get these markers on the map, they actually had to solve or use the solution that we provide on GitHub, merge that into their code to change the code from the training course here, so that first solution was completed. So some of these issues, I'm not saying they look simple, but they're not. Some of them may look really trivial, and you might think I'm not going to learn anything from this, but actually there's kind of like we put some thought into a learning path here. And we are here to help you on all of our various channels.
Yeah, so thanks to Mohan for that one.
Yeah, Mohan did a great job on that, and also pointed out that I forgot to mention that you needed to solve the first programming challenge. So I helped him out with that. And then we have had this same issue we have a Java course, a JavaScript course, and a Python course, and they all use the same application. So we put the same issue out on those, and we obviously were able to improve the quality of that issue for the people that did the other things. So finally, the one thing that I wanted to show was, I said we've been doing some issues on more core product, and node-redis is an example of that. Node-redis is the client SDK for Node.js, and it's what you get when you do npm install Redis, which means it's very, very popular. I think I said earlier about 2.4 million downloads a week. So we are asking people to write example scripts that show how to use it, because one of the areas it's not traditionally been great at is providing fully worked examples. So here we want someone to write an example script that runs a Redis command with several modifiers, so like optional parameters. And we have in node-redis produced an examples folder and put in quite a lot of guidelines for how to contribute. So we've written a bullet list of things to do. We've written a template that you can start from, and we pointed to one that I wrote that is an example of how we think it will be good to do it. So here you can connect to Redis as an access control list user, so one that has limited permissions, and we are running a command that's allowed, and then we're running a command that's not allowed. So our issues for this project are to basically help us fill up this table from its sort of slightly sad state of one example at the minute to 7 or 8, or think of some more examples if you've got time to do that. So we are currently drip feeding these issues out into GitHub land, and there's a couple out there at the moment, and you'll find them on our list, and they're all badged Hacktoberfest. So this is a chance to contribute to a very popular open source project that already has a significant number of contributors. So there's like 158 at the minute. And I think that was all we had for today, actually.
Yeah, so yeah, thanks, Simon. It's been really good to see that, because also it's just been really good to see them in an organized order, because like you and I have been working on this for a couple of weeks now, and we had issues that we made available across a number of repos, and the pull requests came in at all different times. So just the process of sitting down and going through, like, oh, these are all the Kaboom ones, has been really good, just to build up that picture of, you know, the types of contributions that we got just to that one repo. So yeah, I think you really nicely packaged that all up for us there. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I think another pro tip, if anybody else out there is doing sort of our role here and being a maintainer or helping people through Hacktoberfest, we moved to using a Kanban board instead of using like a Google Doc, because we can't plan this on GitHub because our issues are across multiple repos and also multiple organizations. So GitHub doesn't have a way of like building a project like that. So we swapped to using Trello to manage it, and it's made life a lot easier, which makes us more responsive.
I'm definitely a fan of Trello. Yeah, I've no affiliation to them. I just really love the product. So yeah, I can imagine we probably had about 30 issues that we've put out so far, but I can imagine that other companies that have been doing this for a while have put out hundreds. I know one of our colleagues was doing it last year at his old company, and they had over 100 issues. So yeah, I can't imagine how you would manage those without some sort of organized system. So what I'm just going to do now is I'm quickly going to remind you of where to find information about Hacktoberfest at Redis. So yeah, if you go to developer.redis.com/Hacktoberfest, you will find a link to the DigitalOcean website on there. So you can find out all the rules for the whole scheme, but also our guidelines as well, and how to get started with this. You'll also find a list of our open issues. There's a link here. It queries GitHub for you, so you don't have to go picking through to find the Redis ones. And at the moment, we have 10 open issues. Some of them are assigned, a lot of them are not assigned. So please do go and have a look. And like Simon said, we're going to be adding more throughout the course of today. So if you fancy something to do over the weekend, please do go and have a look at that. So, like I said earlier, we have a number of other things going on during Hacktoberfest. Hopefully we can come back and do another one of these streams in a week or so for some more pull requests, because this has been really fun. But yeah, in the meantime, like I said, I'm doing some more streams next week for the technical writing piece, demystifying technical writing and documentation, with Caitlin, Rachel and Lance. That's 3 one-to-one fireside chats that I'm doing Monday, Tuesday and Friday next week, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC and 5 p.m. UK, Monday, Tuesday and Friday. Please do follow us here on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube. So all of our videos, including this one, will be on YouTube for you to watch whenever you like. So yeah, that's it from me. Simon's got a few things that he wants to highlight to you before we go. So Simon.
Yeah. So again, slightly shameless plug for my day job. I am going to put this back. We have a thing called Redis University that we can go to. And
I'm just going to do a quick shameless plug here as well. So like I said, I'm taking RU 101 at the moment, and I'm streaming that with our colleague Justin on Thursdays, again, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, 4 UTC and 5 p.m. UK. So yeah, if you want to take RU 101 with me this month, then yeah, do enroll at Redis University and also watch us on the streams every Thursday. Yeah, but yeah, sorry, Simon, I just remembered that bit.
No worries. So we have a Redis University, which is kind of my day job, and you can sign up at university.redis.com. It's all free, and what it is we currently have 8 different courses that cover different aspects of using the Redis product as a data store for different languages. So we have a course that covers usage with Java, one that is JavaScript, Node.js, one Python, and then we have some others that focus on aspects of the data model. So Intro to Redis Data Structures covers all of the common data types. Streams covers streaming data. We have one here for RediSearch, our full text search and secondary indexing engine. And then if you're more of a sort of DevOps person, we have Redis security, how to secure a Redis install so people can't get in and take your data, and running Redis at scale. So, you know, what happens when you build something and it's wildly successful and it needs to continue running reliably and at speed whilst your data set grows. All of these are free. They're all online. They're available all the time and they're self-paced. If you choose to complete the homework and the final exam questions, which are all multiple choice, then you can earn a certificate of completion. And we also have on the Discord here, so discord.gg/Redis, as well as Hacktoberfest. Every course in here has a course channel. And if you go in the course channel, you can chat with other students on there and members of our team who are literally here to help you. So we will help you out with issues. So here we've helped somebody get up and running, for example. If we go look in the JavaScript one, we've answered some conceptual questions about how to use the product. So we'd love to see you on one of these courses. Totally not necessary for Hacktoberfest participation, but this is something that runs year round, not just in October.
Cool. Do you want to give a quick shout out about YouTube and Twitch channels?
Yeah, we do. And some of those demos shown, they get put onto our YouTube, which is URLs below us, youtube.com/RedisInc. These streams will end up on there as well. If you want to watch them live, then twitch.tv/RedisLabs is our Twitch channel, and you can follow us there and get notifications whenever we stream. So we have different content there. So we have this sort of thing. We have Suze and Justin doing the 101 course. Then we have a thing every month called Redis Monthly Live, which is basically a couple of guest speakers talk about their experience using Redis or other software development topics. So this past month that you can check out on YouTube was to do with microservices and the Saga pattern.
Cool, brilliant. Okay, well, thanks so much, Simon, for joining me today and taking us through all of the issues and PRs. Like we said, we'll be next on Twitch on Monday with me and Caitlin for the fireside chat. But yeah, please do follow us here, and then you'll get a push notification when we go live. Make sure you check out our issues list. Please do get involved with anything that you think that suits your skill set. We'll be adding some more issues throughout the course of today, and we look forward to working with you. But yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks very much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.